the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew revealed that there had been cases of illegal marriages taking place in the country, with questions arising on whether or not the Federation is a hotspot for human trafficking. Speaking on the final day of the budget on December 19, 2022, Dr. Drew explained that the illegal marriages involved individuals from the Spanish community, allowing them to gain citizenship and voting rights. I heard a clip from the Prime Minister when he was speaking in Parliament on the final day of the budget presentation, and the revelation was, I shouldn't really say shocking, because we have been hearing rumors about this, this illegal marriage scheme or marriage scam, going on, where people get married and, you get a little top up or a little stipend or whatever you want to call it. But basically, the Prime Minister was talking about a number of illegal marriages that have taken place over a period of time. Now, he is responsible for the Ministry of National Security and Immigration, and so he would have access to a number of records, a number of files, and some shocking revelations were made. As I said, for my part, it wasn't really shocking, because we have been hearing rumors about illegal marriages that have been taking place here in St. Kitts and Nevis. What is disturbing is the fact that the Prime Minister revealed that after they gained citizenship, these people immediately went and got registered to vote. And so as soon as they got their citizenship, they went to the electoral office and they are on the voters list, and they were able to participate in the election. People who, they don't really live here, they haven't really been making a meaningful contribution to the country, but they ended up on the voters list. He said, I found in my own ministry a ring of illegal marriages. Madam Speaker, let me tell you how this ring works, because I have it written down here. There is somebody in Santo Domingo who's charging a lot of money for a visa. You pay them for a visa there. They have a connection here. So you buy a plane ticket and you come in with your very expensive visa, of which this government is only making 10%. When they come, a husband or wife is waiting for them. So they marry, more money again. From the time they get married, the same day, sometimes in their wedding garments, they go for their certificate of marriage. After they get the certificate of marriage, they get their certificate of citizenship. And then they go to the electoral office for an ID. So they register as to become a voter. And then, after they get their ID, whether they get it the same day, but they get their ID. He says once they go for their ID, they are paid a certain sum of money, and their name is included on an electoral list to vote. Notwithstanding that there are possible legal marriages within those being investigated, the Prime Minister explained that some of the individuals involved in the marriage ring have been abusing the system by marrying and divorcing several times to gain money. Drew expressed that, quote, I am speaking the truth. I have a box of a few hundred cases. I don't even know where to start, because among them might be real marriages. But because there are so many fake marriages among them, you don't even know where to start. Thousands upon thousands of dollars, and this is how it works. You come, you marry, you divorce, you marry again, and then you pass on the citizenship here, there, and everywhere. That is how it works. Those persons who are involved in it will say, well, give me $3,000 and then the divorce, and then they look for another marriage because that's another quick $3,000. So the person, if that they would get married, they would divorce, so that's 3,000. They would get married again, that's another 3,000, and basically maybe that's how they work, that's how they make their money. That is quite unfortunate. It is 15 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9, and you're listening to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We'll take a break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the program. Let's take this break, and I'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
Ram, the good food people, promises to make your holiday season a whole lot merrier and brighter. Simply shop at Ram Supermarket and Cash and Carry this December and enter to win free groceries for 1 year valued at $50,000. At Rams, you're always guaranteed better prices, better quality, and better service. Happy holidays from Rams, the good food people. 'Tis the season to shop with your good food people at Rams. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Jingle all the way home to Flow, where the speed is faster and price is better. All the way home to Flow. Merry connections that bring us together. Yeah.
Christmas starts the moment you go postpaid with Flow. Because when you do, you get a free smartphone. Plus, you get 20 gigabytes of data, unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube, and 4,000 local minutes. That's our Christmas jingling your way to keep family close anywhere, every day.
All the way home to Flow.
Visit discoverflow.co for more information.
It's that time again. TDC Insurance is offering awesome deals in its holiday extravaganza. Buying a new car? Get up to 60% off your motor insurance, free windshield cover, 0% interest-free, cashback, and so much more. Buying a house? Save up to 30% on home insurance and additional discounts if you pair with your new car. It's crazy this holiday season at TDC Insurance with our TDC Insurance Holiday Extravaganza. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices. Let's head to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Devon. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good, thanks. And yourself?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Good to hear.
Devon, I'm listening to you, and of course I've heard Dr. Drew's statement. And while I'm not surprised, because I've heard a lot about this type of stuff happening, the first question I would have is, the persons, do you know for clarity, are they getting married here or are they getting married in the Dominican Republic before they come here? That's one.
They're getting married here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come here and they get married, and then they get a passport right away?
I think the law has changed where now if you're getting married to a national, you qualify for citizenship right away. And so I'm not sure if they get the passport right away, because that's a whole process we have to go through. Mm-hmm. But based on what the Prime Minister is saying here, that appears to be the case, where they get their certificate of marriage and then the certificate of citizenship, which is perhaps equivalent to a passport.
Okay. So is there a waiting time, Devon, do you know, between when one registers to vote and are able to vote?
Good question. I think I'm not sure if this is written in law, but what I have been hearing in speaking with people who have been involved in the process in terms of dealing with people registering to vote is that you usually wait 2 to 3 months. So, for example, we had local elections in Nevis on Monday, well, December, and in order for you, I think the list that they were using for that election was for people who registered up until September of this year. And so if you went to register in November, you won't be able to participate in the elections. And so those who registered in August, September, maybe October, then they were able to participate in the elections. So let's just say maybe a 2 to 3 month window.
Okay. So how then have we heard that people are literally getting off planes and handed a passport and their citizenship and they're able to vote? How is that happening?
That's a good question, one that I can't answer.
Okay. I mean, let me tell you something, huh? As I'm listening to all of that, I'm becoming very frightened. Our country does not look and sound good right now at all. There's just too much going on. Remember we had the hush puppy incident, speaking of marriages, about a year ago?
About that.
Now, what Dr. Drew is talking about, unfortunately, it's now coming out publicly, but it's been talked about for a long time. So we have an idea that this has been going on for a while now, right? We've just had an election where there's a lot of cause for questioning of the results and what has happened, and we're not looking very good right now. One of the things that concerns me, Devon, is that the electoral commissioner, that's what he's called, this new gentleman, we have not heard, at least unless I've missed something, I have not heard a word publicly from him about the results of the election.
You mean
is he comfortable with what has gone on? Is he doing an investigation himself? He has made no statement to the people of Nevis about, and when I say the people of Nevis, the majority of the people of Nevis who have some real concerns because a lot of things went on that day should not have gone on. I've had people calling me, telling me of incidents that they experienced when they went into vote, and I've just directed them. I certainly am not the person to talk to about this. I've directed them to where I think they should go and talk to. My personal experience, I was in a line that says A to L. It's a station where I usually vote, and I was being told I had to go around to some other place around there. My last name begins with an H. So if the thing says A to L and my last name begins with an H, why am I being moved around? And then when I questioned, I was being told, well, there's a problem with the list. There's a problem with the list. I don't know what the specific problem was. But there were some things that were really questionable going on that day, especially in certain polling stations that needs to be addressed, and the commissioner needs to come out and make some statements. If it is in fact that he's conducting an investigation and he'll get back to us, then tell us that. But this is not good. This is not good. Now, coming back to that whole process, it's interesting to hear about all of these marriages and marriage certificates and citizenship certificates. I've had instances in my family recently, family members who are citizens by descent. Their passports, their St. Nevis passport needs renewal, and they are now being told they have to go back through the process all over again and pay whatever the amount of money is all over again because they can't find the paperwork in the office. When I questioned, well, why can't the paperwork be found? Don't you guys have a system that you enter this data into? And apparently that from my understanding, that has not been happening. So what have we really been doing? If we've been processing all of these things, no wonder there's so much confusion where this paperwork can be found. Maybe this paperwork conveniently cannot be found. But what really is going on in our country? And it makes us not look very good at all, Devon. It's very, very questionable. Are we going to be showing up someplace pretty soon and people questioning our passports? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm following you. Mm-hmm.
So I am to hope that a serious investigation has gone on, and Devon, the day of the election, I have never seen so many Spanish people in Nevis, period. Not only at one polling station, but all over the place. And they were coming in here from that Friday and Saturday night. Where were they coming from? Who are these people? Are these some of the people who Dr. Drew is referring to? Where have they been? Most other countries, when you're going through the citizenship process, there's a waiting process before you actually get the privileges to vote and things like that.
Oh, okay. Yes. That's
Don't
true.
we have anything like that set in our country
It
to
doesn't.
protect
It doesn't.
and to cushion this whole process?
It doesn't appear so. Based on what the Prime Minister said, he's saying that as soon as the citizenship was granted, they get all the rights that come with being a citizen. And so as soon as they got their passport or their certificate of citizenship, they went to register to vote based on what the Prime Minister is saying. So I would take that to mean that there is no actual waiting time or waiting process, you know?
So follow me on this. So I can leave a country wherever, come here, get a hookup, because that's what it basically boils down to. Get passport, get whatever, get citizenship, get whatever, and go back. And then come back every time there's an election and get paid my $500. I come on an election vacation and get paid for it and go back. I input nothing into this country. That sounds to me like basically what is happening. Why have we been reduced to this cheapening of our country and cheapening of our citizenship and cheapening of our birthright? What is it that I'm supposed to feel proud about right now about being a citizen of St. Kitts Nevis? If every, Jesus help me, let me keep my mouth shut, body can come here and just get a citizenship just like that. What is it that I'm supposed to feel proud about this country and about my birthright and my citizens? Now, let me just say this on. I've never hidden this fact. I am a descendant of Dominican Republic rights or citizenry, because my grandmother was born. My grandmother's father, my great-grandfather, was a Kittitian, I'm told, who went to the Dominican Republic to cut cane. He had 3 daughters. They came back here to Nevis as little girls. One of them was my grandmother. And so I have that connection in the Dominican Republic. But I am not comfortable with what I've seen happening here. And why have we targeted that one set of people? The other thing that I'm very, very concerned about, the Citizenship by Investment program have allowed people from all over the world, as long as they have the money, to come and buy our citizenship. It seems to me we should be seeing far more investment going on in our country than we're seeing now if these people have money, right? But the other thing, I listened to one of the persons in the House the other day speaking of the fact that they should be, up until now, my understanding is those persons who have citizenship by investment cannot vote. I'm now hearing from one of our ministers in the House that they should be able to allow to be vote. These are, as a matter of fact, the person referred to them as very wealthy people. If you give them that right, where does that leave you and I, Devon?
Good question.
Where does that leave you and I? One of these days we're going to be told, well, you got to go to Booby Island to live because you can't live here anymore. We own here. Money talks, huh? Money talks.
All right.
I know I've been ranting for a while, so I'm going to get off quickly. I hope that we understand where we're going with all this, Devon. I am hoping that we understand where this is all going, because it's going to barrel out of control. It sounds to me like it already has with the marriage thing. There's a person that we've heard in the news in a couple of days have been arrested for fraudulent marriages or something like that. Does that have anything to do with all of this other stuff? Where are we going? What is it that's happening to us? We need to know, and I am to hope that the Prime Minister, the Honorable Garth Wilking, and others come out and speak. We need to know about these things. I was quite surprised to hear one of our prominent ministers of government speak to the fact of how many citizenship by investment persons there are in this country, because I had been asking this question all along and nobody seemed to be able to tell you how many citizens. So Sincus Nevis have the roughly 50 whatever that we know about. But then I am hearing now from a statement that is made that there's 30,000 other citizens of Sincus Nevis out there. So we're really 80-something thousand people. What is happening in our country? What is happening in our country? And we have a right. We have a right to know. And this information needs to be brought to the public on a regular basis. As a citizen of this country, we're supposed to be able to call up the CBI office and find out how many citizens do we have in Sincus Nevis. And if they're not able to tell us, something is very wrong. Some hanky-panky is going on. Devon, you have a good day. I'll continue listening.
All right, caller. Thank you for your contribution to this program. It is 11:33. We'll take a short break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. It is Wednesday, December 21, 2022. We'll take this break, and I'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
This holiday season, a loan from TDC Financial Services is for me and for you. Up to $85,000 for any purpose. So top up for my food business, repairs on the house, and all the styles for Sugar Mass 51. And of course, sorting out my kids for back to school. Hear what my friend had to say about her experience.
Girl, I love to get my holiday loan at TDC Financial Services. It is less hassle and you get the loan fast.
So you see, TDC Financial Services is the place to get what you need this Christmas. A loan for me and a loan for you. Terms and conditions apply. Ram, the good food people, promises to make your holiday season a whole lot merrier and brighter. Simply shop at Ram Supermarket and Cash and Carry this December and enter to win free groceries for 1 year valued at $50,000. At Rams, you're always guaranteed better prices, better quality, and better service. Happy holidays from Rams, the good food people. 'Tis the season to shop with your good food people at Rams. FM. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Flow, oh, oh. Jingle all the way home to Flow, where the speed is faster and price is better. All the way home to Flow. Merry connections that bring us together, yeah.
Christmas starts the moment you bundle your Flow internet with your Flow mobile. Because when you do, you get a free laptop. Plus, you get 100 megabits per second internet speed, 20 gigabytes of data, 4,000 local minutes, and unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube. That's our Christmas jingling your way to keep family close for Christmas and every day.
All the way home to Flow.
Visit discoverflow.co for more information.
Welcome back to Voices right here on WINN FM 98.9. It is 11:36 and we'll head back to the phone lines and take this call. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Devon.
Hi, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Devon. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Devon, on the backdrop of what your first caller just stated, let me take you back in history when you and I wasn't around. I'm going to take you back to a year 1884. But before going there, let me just state that we are a people who seems to be allowing others to take what is ours. We seem to be a people that allow others to take what is ours. Now, 1884, Devon, we had the Berlin Conference that took place in Germany by Europeans when they decided to cut up the continent of Africa. Now, I'm going to call out a couple of names to you, Devon. You can take notes and you can do your own research. Now, there's a general in the U.S. Defense Force by the name of Lloyd Austin. He's Secretary of Defense. There's a Linda Thomas Greenfield, who is an ambassador to United Nations. And of course, you know, there is Kamala Harris, who is the Vice President of Joe Biden. Now, before Joe Biden became president in the 1980s under the Reagan administration, Joe Biden was against apartheid in South Africa. Today, Devon, Joe Biden has summoned 49 African leaders to Washington, and he offered them $55 billion for the period of 3 years, whereas in the war with Russia and Ukraine, Biden, America, have donated over $100 billion to Ukraine. Why am I saying this, Devon? When 1884 happened, when they cut up our continent without one African present, they did it for their own benefit, and it have worked for them, Devon. Today, there's a new scramble for Africa. 49 leaders of the African countries was in Washington, and Joe Biden gave them his agenda. Let me repeat this. Joe Biden gave 49 African leaders America agenda. Now, all before Biden asked these leaders to come to Washington, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, was in South Africa, wanting South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, to be a mediator or else. Be a mediator or else. And we know the role of America and NATO with their sanction on African leaders if they don't take side. I'm saying that to say this, Devon. When they use their strategies by giving some African American leaders position like Lloyd Austin, Linda Thomas Greenfield, and of course our Kamala Harris. What is Kamala Harris is doing? Being who she are, what is she doing? If you research Lloyd Austin, this is a black African American. Linda Thomas Greenfield, a black African American. You can look at the pattern that is being played out here, Devon. So you see, They have an agenda, and when they give some of our people titles of power, what are they doing with this power? Because for me, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, he gave a speech pertaining to the war and how Africa's supposed to take sides. Like, really? Really? Should Africa be taking sides? Devon, there is agenda here at stake. Because the future is at stake. Now, what is African leaders' agenda in all that is going on with all these events? What is Kamala Harris is doing? We saw how the Haitians were treated at the borders with those men on horses with whips. What did Kamala Harris said about all of that? Devon, we so got to wake up now to come down to here in our country. We see who is becoming second-class citizens by the stroke of the pen at election. I mean, when are we going to take a stand and demand what is ours? I mean, I am not saying that we should not invite, people from there or wherever. We are one people, but we should not be exploited by others from different geographic space to come and trample upon us. I mean, we need to talk about that summons, that Biden summoned those African leaders 2 weeks ago in Washington and give them this insult of $55 billion. We know France is raking $500 billion out of Africa. Is United Nations speaking about this? Africans are being exploited from 1884 up until presently today. They just strategize and come and give different names to their agenda. And we are swallowing all this misery wholesale. Devon, it's all about us, you and me. Because even though we are in our geographic space, Africa is the future. That's our land of milk and honey, and it's been exploited from 1884. And this new scramble for Africa, we need to pay attention to these events. Joe Biden made me sick by offering his lousy $55 billion to the African, and not to the African leaders themselves. See how gullible they are by accepting $55 billion when America gives Ukraine over $100 billion in less than a year. You see how I can't even find the words to describe what is happening here. And we have to let our voices heard and condemn this misery. They are trying to keep us docile. They divided us, and it has worked for them. And they have exploited our continent and generated generation wealth for the future for them. Therefore, we got to get serious. Our leaders here have to get serious. Our leaders on the continent, and we as a body of people, as Africans, we are who we are. They know who we are. And what all that they did to us in slavery and colonization, the genocide and the atrocities, they do it to make a statement. And they give us fear with their weapons of death, Devon. We got to wake up. They cannot annihilate us. We are everlasting. They know that, and they know they are the carbon copy. Today, they're doing what we call genetic mixing to continue their bloodline, Devon. This thing is so deep, but yet we are comfortable, and we just go along with what they give us because we don't question, and we just swallow everything wholesale. Thank you for hearing me.
All right, thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to this program. It is 11:45 here in the studios of WINN FM 98.9. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll take this call. And caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. With the topic, the people them came in to vote. To marry, or they live here.
Well, I don't know if they live here now, but based on what the Prime Minister said, they came, they got married. After they got married, they got their certificate of citizenship, and after they got that, they went to register as voters. But I can't say if they still
because the
live
reason
here.
why I said that, I asked the question, if how they know who they're going to come to get married, Because if you come from away to get married, that means they have a setup here. You call somebody and you call them. So the people them who doing these things supposed to be investigate and don't let it go so far. And the citizen by investment where they have so much of people, them who come in to get married to, or it's just a money making scheme. They come buy a land or a house and they pay the money and they're gone. But they're gone with the passport, so you don't know what they're going to do to put St. Kitts in trouble. So this thing need to investigate. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. But yes, that is what I was when you asked the question, caller, how if they're coming to marry someone here, yes. According to what the Prime Minister is saying, they had a contact here on the ground, and so when they came, they met the man or the woman that they would get married to. So there was a contact here on the ground that would round up the people from that country for them to get married. And so, according to him, the investigation is ongoing. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. And yourself?
Oh, you're giving God thanks as usual, you know.
Awesome.
It's very interesting. You know, timing is important. Good morning, and season greeting to Tessa. Tessa forget to check the watch today. Now, a ring, one person can be a ring. Is that so?
Caller, go ahead and make your comment.
One person cannot be a ring. For what they said, the process. Then other persons in the government service are part of the ring. And why was only one person put on the bench? Was it political? It sounds so, you know. And during the election, all of the parties were quoting the same Spanish. They actually influenced the results in some of the constituencies. But the same Spanish. That is why the Prime Minister could go and meet with them.
I think you forgot something, caller. The Prime Minister is saying that the investigation is ongoing. So I guess the investigation is ongoing. So I guess over a matter of time, people who are involved in this, they would be arrested.
We're talking about the election. You recall the election, right? Parties had people wearing shirts.
Yeah, but you mentioned something about somebody being on the bench. What are you referring to?
According to the police report, somebody was arrested for this. They call it forgery and fraud with this marriage business.
So now I am telling you that the investigation is continuing. So maybe next week somebody else might join that individual. So you can't suggest that they went after one person and it's one person only.
You say a ring can't be one person. You're smart enough. Can a ring be one person?
Go ahead, make a comment.
One person can be a ring. No, this thing has been going on decades. When people from a certain Caribbean country began to show up here, it was the norm. Women were looked for husbands. Men actually recruited women or ordered wives. So this thing didn't just start. It started way in the 80s. Now, the waiting time used to be 6 years before you could get your passport, citizenship. And then it was reduced to 3 years under Labour. Then Dr. Harris, if you recall, there was the incident. It passed to the House where the argument was, if they are citizens, why should they have to wait? And they said that the waiting time has to do with the, what do you call them, when they check in their character. So that to get police report from where they come from, and that before they got the passport.
They do
so if that part was skipped, that they just married, take the marriage certificate, and went, that I don't believe the part. If that is true, then are the people supposed to be on the bench? Because that would have to be done at the government quarters. Now, why the Spanish? As I said, the complaint was being made in Ibis that the Spanish people were voting for CCM. And in St. Kitts, every party had, Labour had the Spanish in Irishtown. PLP had the one in Newtown. I don't know where Pam one was. Some maybe Newtown too. I mean, the people were corralled to vote. And every year the same, after every election, you have the same outcry. Those who lose ball. So for me, Dr. Jew, he mean well, but to me, he is expressing ignorance of what has been going on. It's historical, and our people are part of it. People here taking money to marry and taking part in the divorce thing. So it isn't just the Spanish marrying the Spanish, you know. It is our business. It is our business. And if he does not know, he should have waited a little longer. Sort out those who are genuine marriage from those who are not. Because if you say, well, they have between them, it creates all kind of anxiety for everybody. You don't think so? What do you think?
Go ahead, make a comment.
Yeah. So I think the whole thing is political, because this thing, everybody is saying this thing has been going on for decades. Some of them get papers from certain lawyers, send them up at this cemetery, go and look for a name and come back and say it was their grandfather. And they were assisted by lawyers to get passport. So this passport racket didn't just start today. It started way back in the 80s. What we need to be honest people. And this thing, our people are engaging in it overseas, you know. Going to the Virgin Islands, that was the norm. You don't have a contract, you marry somebody to get your green card. They do it in the States too. All nations do it. I don't agree with it, But what I'm saying, making it a big topic of discussion before you come to the thing, before you bring the ring members. To me, even if the person arrested was wrong, to me should be made a scapegoat for other people. Because if you have a ring, one person cannot be a ring. It's only common sense. It was done to embarrass.
All right. Caller, you clearly not listening, you know.
What I say?
You're not listening. No, you're not listening. Because if you were listening, you would not have made that comment. All right? Thank you so much for your contribution. It is 11:53 and we are taking your calls right here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. Call us at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm blessed. I also love to listen first before I can make a comment.
All right.
And what I like to say with the first caller, she was correct in what she was saying, and I listened to her attentively. And I am disappointed with two of our ministers in government at this time, our Deputy Prime Minister and our Prime Minister. I think what Mr. Henry was just saying, she alluded to certain things, what he should have never did, because he should remember he won for 2 elections, and he had Spanish vote for him too. Nobody's saying that they're wrong in what they did, but certain things where you're going to come out and speak out to the nation, people are going to get offended, and it is just not happening. It happened a long, long time ago. But you need to get something clarified better and let the people know, look, we have a government, we have laws, and you have to go according to what our laws say. That you come in contrary and doing other things, and next thing, when you blow it out now, is a conflict. Because, which I said, he won for 2 elections and he lost. And Spanish vote for him, and he should never be in the parliament making him start a statement about the corruption of people coming here getting married and all. It's happening all over the world. You as the Prime Minister are supposed to be able to know exactly how to speak to your people when you're in parliament. I love Dr. Denzel Douglas. he was somebody who could speak to the people, to the nation, and people listen. I listened to Dr. Kennedy Simmons. The speak for the people to listen and to learn. And Dr. Timothy Harris, is like he learned from those two that was in front of him, and he carried on the mantle. But now that Dr. Joe gets in as the fourth prime minister and the youngest one, those are the statements that they are making. It is uncalled for. It is uncalled for because what are you doing to the Federation of Thinking Thieves, which you are the leader and prime minister of? What are you trying to tell the people there? Or you're going in here and you're going to do what you want? And no, you have to listen to the people in, and you move on by listening to your parliament ministers and your attorney general and your legal advisors, and you move on to make things better, not to blow things out of proportion and want to know where think it's come from with all of this corruption. It's a long, long time, but nobody was touching it. Well, how come he got to touch it? He know what was going on, Mr. Cornelius. Where I live in Port Thomas, there's a Spanish church next to me. And he goes, when he came back to the Spanish church, and he was welcomed by the Spanish people in his church. And how come he's talking now ill will about them?
Conversation with them privately and to see how you can work that out, all right?
Definitely, Mr. Cornelius, thank you very much for listening to me and trying to correct me, because I don't want people to go and say, I calling in and making one statement. I was and the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister in what they said.
All right.
I listen to learn and to get an education.
All right, thank you.
Have a good morning.
All right, you too, and thank you so much for your contribution to this program. It is 11:58. We break at 12 for the headline news. With regards to the revelation made by the Prime Minister, I don't think it was a case where he is targeting or trying to offend the Spanish community. He's speaking based off of information that was provided to him in terms of the investigation where there are illegal marriages taking place in the country. So it's not a case where he is trying to call down, based off of my understanding. Some people interpret it differently, but based off of what I've read and heard, I don't think it's a case of where he's trying to call down or belittle the Spanish community. He's saying, based off of the information that is before his desk, there are illegal marriages taking place in the country, and the majority of people who participate in this ring is people from the Spanish community, where they come from Santo Domingo and they meet their husband and their wives here. There are agents here who set up the whole process, and that is what is going on. An arrest has been made thus far. We don't know if that arrest is tied to what is going on right now. But the important thing, he said, the investigation is continuing. So we don't know if next week we're going to hear that they're going to arrest 2 other people or 3 more people or whatever. But the investigation is ongoing, and they have in front of them a number of marriages that have taken place over a period of time. So we will continue to follow the Prime Minister in terms of, well, the investigation, and when they come and say, hey, this is what we have found. But from my understanding, I don't think it's a case of where the Prime Minister is trying to belittle the Spanish community or trying to target them or anything. He's presenting the findings. There are illegal marriages taking place in the country, and for the most part, it is people from the Spanish-speaking community. They are coming, they're getting married, they're getting the certificate of citizenship, they're getting paid for it, and then they're registering as voters, and they are participating in the election. They're participating in our elections. As it relates to who is going to be arrested, the investigation is ongoing, and so maybe next week we might hear that they arrest 2 people. They arrest some lawyer, they arrest some police officer, they arrest some, we don't know. So it's just for us to wait to see, what other information is going to be revealed. It is the top of the hour, so we'll take this break now for the headline news. And when we come back, we'll continue the Voices right here on WIN FM 98.9. Let's take this break, and I'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We're encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans, ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the following locations: in Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and the Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. In St. Kitts, every second and fourth Tuesday at the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Deep Bay. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottles, flatware, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis, or contact us at 465-2372. The choice is yours. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. So think smart. Take PAT, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
You have the keys to your new car this Christmas? Now it's time to get it insured. Visit Dedeal Baldwin, agents for Caribbean Alliance Insurance, to save up to 65% off your motor insurance premium. All new clients are eligible for major discounts. Plus, there's lots of sweet prizes to be won. Switch and save and get in on the action. Visit us today in St. Kitts or Nevis, or give us a call at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Promotion ends December 31st, and all quotes are valid until January 31st. Drive secure this Christmas with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Terms and conditions apply.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Has not been fixed. We are still experiencing severe problems, shortages, and people are just fed up, having given the government 8 years to fix the problem. It's clear.
With the WINNFM Headline News, I am Yulana Weeks. Locally, Takaila Hart Johnson crowned St. Kitts and Nevis National Carnival Talented Teen Queen. Regionally, Antigua opposition says state of water crisis there will be a major issue in upcoming elections. Internationally, Donald Trump's tax returns to be made public. The details and more straight ahead. The St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Committee yet again provided a platform for teenage girls to express themselves and their views with the hosting of the highly anticipated St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Talented Teen Pageant. On Tuesday night, December 20, Miss Virgil's High School, Takaila Hart Johnson, was crowned the 2022-2023 St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Talented Teen Queen. Takaila won the hearts of the judges, thus coming out on top in 4 of the 5 judged segments: ambassadorial speech, ambassadorial costume, performing talent, and on-stage interview. Takaila was presented a laptop sponsored by Quartz, a necklace sponsored by Diamond International, a free value pack for 3 months, and a platinum loyalty MasterCard from the cable. The first runner-up position was awarded to Miss Washington Archibald High School, Kajoy Isaac, with a total of 618 points. Kajoy received a tablet sponsored by Quartz and free internet upgrades from the cable. She also received the Miss Photogenic Award, which was selected by Modern Elegance Photography. She was presented with a photo of herself taken at the pageant's official photo shoot. Miss Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, Malia Erskine, placed second runner-up with 611.5 points. Her prizes include a tablet from Quartz and a 3 months free internet upgrades sponsored by the cable. She was also presented a gift basket for winning the Miss Amity Award. Her fellow contestants considered her to be the friendliest, funniest, and warmest of the group. Meanwhile, the third runner-up position was awarded to Michaela Martin from the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, amassing a total of 609 points. She scored majority points in the Teenage Evening Wear segment. Michaela also won 3 months free internet upgrades from the cable. Miss Teen Social Award was presented to Miss Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Saya Mason. The selection was based on her receipt of most likes on social media. She received a tablet sponsored by Quartz and a monetary contribution sponsored by Robertine Webb, Director of Creative Economy. Winners of each segment, as well as their respective schools, received a monetary gift from the Carnival Committee.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I'm Wendy Chateau reporting. Antigua opposition says state of water crisis there will be a major issue in upcoming elections. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Wednesday, December 21, 2022. Details to this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. Leader of the United Progressive Party, Harold Lovell, says the way the Gaston Brown administration has managed the water crisis there will be a major issue for voters in next month's elections. Parts of Antigua have been in throes of acute water shortages, exacerbated by storage and distribution issues. Prime Minister Gaston Brown, during his party's rally early this week, urged patience on the issue, saying that his government is on the brink of solving it.
I say to you that Labour Party will make sure, this administration will make sure that there's water sustainability in this country.
But Lovell, who is seeking to replace Brown as Prime Minister, said people cannot take any promises made by the government on the issue.
We've listened to the people in our various visits, and people are really fed up at the fact that in 2014, the Prime Minister promised that he would have the water problem fixed within 14 days. Well, we're looking at 9 years later, and the water problem still has not been fixed. We are still experiencing severe problems, shortages, and people are just fed up. Having given the government 8 years to fix the problem, it's clear that the government have failed.
Antiguans have also suffered in the lead up to Christmas an extreme cooking gas shortage put down to supply chain issues. The Antigua Labour Party held a public meeting Tuesday night, a day after Prime Minister Brown announced the new elections for January 18. Both major parties are expected to hold up on public meetings over the Christmas weekend, but expected to resume ahead of the December 28th nomination day. Some Barbadians will have to wait longer to get their income tax refunds. Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Ryan Strawn, yesterday admitted that while some refunds had been paid, the government was strapped for cash and was not in a position to pay all the outstanding refunds at this time. Strawn explained that the government had expended a significant amount of its resources in its fight against the COVID-19 pandemic and in recovering from the impact of Hurricane Elsa and the ash fall. He said that as a result, the current cash flow was limited. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says measures are being taken to address the upsurge in yacht burglaries in Bequia and other parts of the country, but has declined to disclose the details of some of those tactics. Caribbean Safety and Security Net, which tracks maritime safety in the region, has reported a number of yacht break-ins in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And during a recent sitting of Parliament, Opposition Leader Godwin Friday, who is Member of Parliament for Northern Grenadines, where Bequia is located, reported a recent spate of yacht break-ins in Admiralty Bay. He said there have also been attacks on yachts in harbours and bays throughout the country. Prime Minister Gonsalves, who is also Minister of National Security, Legal Affairs and Information, acknowledged the recent upsurge in break-ins on yachts. He said the police and Coast Guard have increased patrols on land and sea. The British Virgin Islands may hold its very first referendum, which will be used to determine whether same-sex marriage should be legal in the territory. Premier Natalio Whitley made that announcement in a public broadcast Monday. The referendum is being proposed because of an ongoing case involving a same-sex Virgin Islands couple who got married abroad and then mounted a challenge in the High Court to have their union legally recognized in the BVI. Whitley said the government is defending the ability of the BVI's democratically elected legislature to make legislation on this issue. He further argued that such a matter that has such significant religious and social implications should not be decided by a court of law, but by the people of the Virgin Islands. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. I'm Wendy Chateau reporting.
Elon Musk has said he will resign as Twitter's chief executive once he found what he described as somebody foolish enough to take the job. Who might that be? Well, the billionaire promised to abide by the result of a Twitter poll in which he asked users to vote on whether he should step down from the role. Mr. Musk says he'll still run the software and server teams after his replacement is found. We can talk now to Marcus Gilroy-Ware, who's an academic specialising in social media and politics and a lecturer in creative digital media at SOAS University. Thank you for being with us. Well, is he really prepared to have somebody else run Twitter, do you think?
I think he is prepared to have somebody run Twitter nominally. I'd be surprised if the person who takes that job will have much autonomy and freedom to really run Twitter the way they want to run the company. I suspect Mr. Musk's influence will continue to be quite strong at Twitter.
Well, I mean, he owns it, and he spent, what, $40-odd billion buying it. So, you know, he's not really going to let somebody take it in a completely different direction, is he?
No, exactly. I mean, he's been saying, this is actually not the first time he said he's going to hand over the leadership, but one rather thinks of when Putin handed over the presidency of Russia some years ago to get round constitutional limits, he was still running the country. It makes me think of that. Mr. Musk is not going to go anywhere, and he's, as you say, invested a lot of money in buying Twitter. And exactly why, or whether he really wanted to go through with the sale, is another matter. But for now, he's got it, and he's got to make this work.
I'm not sure Elon Musk would appreciate being compared to Vladimir Putin, but anyway, do you think he's now regretting buying Twitter for all that money?
I suspect so. All of the kind of signs I have and the instincts I have from having worked on this stuff for a long time, I don't think that he really wanted to go through with the sale. I think, in fact, we know that he was forced to, by the courts in the US, complete the sale when he tried to kind of get out of it. And the Twitter board were very sure about making him do that. But he has told those courts as well that he has too much on, that he doesn't really want to be running Twitter. So this poll, in a way, what's more significant is not that he said again that he wants to stand down, because we kind of knew that he was feeling that, but rather that when he asks the Twitter base, the users, that they also want him to stand down.
They don't like him.
Damning in that regard. No, they don't like him because journalists and politicians especially know that. I mean, Twitter was quite a functional sort of public sphere type place where you could really share information, and there was something good about it. And for all the criticisms I make of social media, there was something quite functional about that. And now a lot of that has been destroyed and undermined by Mr. Musk's acquisition of the platform. And I think that, there is a sense that he is inevitably associated with that change, and they want to see him out of the way.
Marcus Gilroy-Ware, thank you very much indeed. We'll see what happens next with Twitter, but good to talk to you. Thank you.
Now, ever since announcing his run for president, Donald Trump has refused to make his tax returns public. Despite not being legally obliged to do so, for decades it's been convention that presidential hopefuls are transparent on their earnings and how much of that goes back into the public purse. But Donald Trump's fight for privacy has now run out, with the US House committee ruling to release details of the former president's filings from 2015 to 2021, the years when he was running for president and serving in the White House. Our North America correspondent Peter Bowes has more now on the significance of this decision. Peter, why might we see these tax results?
It could still be several days before we get to see these documents. There is a process of redaction taking place, and that is essentially the blacking out of certain lines that contain sensitive, confidential information relating to Mr. Trump. But then the documents will be made public for everyone to see. Of course, hugely anticipated, really, ever since 2016, when Donald Trump stood for the presidency for the first time and refused to release his tax returns, and ever since then, to the point of going to the Supreme Court with a legal challenge to try to keep them private. That failed, and now he has lost that battle. So it remains to be seen, probably in the next couple of days, exactly what those documents contain.
And Peter, what's the reaction been in the US to this news?
Well, we've had a response from a spokesperson for Donald Trump, who has described this looming release of the documents as an unprecedented leak, saying that the Democrats, in this person's view, are playing politics. Now, the Republicans on the committee have always opposed the public release of Donald Trump's tax returns, saying that it sets an unwelcome precedent for the future. Kevin Brady is the senior Republican on the committee.
So, regrettably, the deed is done. Over our objections in opposition, Democrats on the Ways and Means Committee have unleashed a dangerous new political weapon that overturns decades of privacy protections for average taxpayers. The era of political targeting and of Congress's enemies list is back.
So that's the Republican view. The Democrats say it is in the public interest for these tax returns to be made public. And they also say it's part of improving auditing procedures for the Internal Revenue Service, which is essentially why this committee was set up in the first place, to look at how presidential candidates are scrutinised in terms of their tax affairs.
Peter, as we know, Donald Trump has already announced his intention to run again for presidency in 2024. How might this decision about his taxes impact on that?
That is a big question, and perhaps the most crucial, because, as you say, Donald Trump is hoping to return to the White House, and what remains to be seen is, well, what the documents show us. A lot of people looking to see if it reveals any information about Mr. Trump's wealth, if it reveals anything interesting about his financial dealings, perhaps overseas, Russia in particular, or any methods, and this term creative accounting has been used several times, what methods he and his accountants have used to pay as little tax as possible. All will be revealed eventually, and in terms of the political consequences, I think it's ultimately going to depend on how Americans react to what they see and hear about how Donald Trump has operated over the last few years, and whether that is going to influence them in terms of whether he should be in the White House again.
OK, Peter Bowes, our correspondent on the US West Coast, thank you very much.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's on his way to the United States in his first trip abroad since the Russian invasion. US media was reporting he was going to Washington. Now he has confirmed on Twitter on his way to the US to strengthen resilience and defense capabilities, he said, adding, "I'll also give a speech at Congress and a number of bilateral meetings." We've also had confirmation of the trip from the White House. In a statement, it said President Biden will announce a significant new package of security assistance to help Ukraine. Well, let's talk to BBC's Hugo Bashega, who's in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. What details do we have at the moment, Hugo, about what this visit may hold?
Yeah, Karen, so it's official. President Zelensky is going to Washington, and we had a statement from the White House saying that a package of military assistance is going to announce a package of $2 billion. And I think the headline here is that the US will be sending Patriot missiles to the Ukrainians. These are sophisticated air defense capabilities for the Ukrainians. The authorities here have been asking for this kind of technology for quite some time, and they say that it is essential for the Ukrainians to defend cities and towns across the country from those Russian airstrikes. For weeks we've been talking about this Russian strategy to target this country's essential infrastructure, and it seems that the Americans, the Biden administration, decided to go ahead with this Patriot missile technology and give it to the Ukrainians as a result of those missile attacks. So it is expected, so what we can expect is that President Zelensky will be holding talks with President Biden, then there will be a news conference, and then later today President Zelensky will be addressing the US Congress. And I think it's important here because we can expect President Zelensky to make the case for more aid. There's been some criticism, especially from some Republicans, towards the level of assistance that's being provided by the US. So I think the president will be using this opportunity to make the case for more aid, as there are no signs of any kind of negotiations to end this war here.
Seen many video appearances by President Zelensky to various parliaments and organisations around the world, but actually being there in person, that really sends out a message around the world, doesn't it? And to Russia after 10 months of war.
Absolutely. It's very significant, and it's very important that this visit, the first foreign trip, is to the United States, which has been the most important ally of the Ukrainians in this war. The US has committed more than $18 billion in assistance since the start of the war. And obviously lots of security risks involved, and this trip, the official confirmation that this trip was happening came hours before it was due to start. So there was some reports reports in the US overnight, and now this morning the Ukrainians and also the Biden administration confirming that the visit is going ahead. And yes, full of symbolism. Yesterday, President Zelensky was in Bakhmut, a city right next to the front line. He was there, he met soldiers. When he talked to journalists and talked to the people there, you could hear the sound of explosions in the background. And again, another demonstration of support, a show of defiance, as he was very near positions where heavy fighting has been happening. And now his first foreign trip as the president is traveling to the United States for those talks with President Biden.
Hugo, thank you. Hugo Bashega in Kyiv.
That was the Win FM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Tis the season to save with Delayed Whirlwind and Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Purchasing a new car this Christmas? Save up to 65% off. Yes, that's 65% off your motor insurance premiums. Switch and save.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The St. Kitts and Nevis Solid Waste Management, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We are encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans, ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every second and fourth Tuesday each month at the following locations in St. Kitts: the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Deep Bay. In Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, Ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottle, flatware set, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis, or contact us at 465-23. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the secure goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
Triple that cash back. From now until December 31st, Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store is going to triple that cash back.
Triple that cash back.
You heard right. Hosford's is going to triple that never-ending cash back now with 3 big ways to save. 1. Get low monthly and weekly payments and no payment until February 2023. 2. Get a chance to win absolutely free groceries for 1 year. 3. Triple that never-ending cashback at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store for even more groceries. Triple that cashback today at Hosford. Triple the savings. Triple the free groceries. Triple the extraordinary. Triple that never-ending cashback today. See store for details.
Welcome back to Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let's take this call. Caller, you are on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. A call back. A call to say that the ministers, past and present, does know everything happening in the country. And I take that he should not go on his program yet, find out from the electoral office and the courthouse what's going on before he come on. I think that he should do that because they know, and he wanted to make it a political thing, but it's not Timothy who do it for you. Thanks.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 762-0989. You're tuned into Win FM 98.9. This is Voices for Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. And I'm your host for the program today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining. Good afternoon. I trust you guys are having a pleasant afternoon. The topic at hand is the St. Kitts Nevis government uncovers ring of illegal marriages. I wanted to continue where I left off from. So the article says that the Prime Minister revealed that he had a meeting with the Latino community and explained to them what the government had identified. He also informed that conversations with some of the Spanish nationals proved that there is no real relationship between them and their marriage partner. He says, quote, I went to a meeting with the Spanish community and they have legitimate concerns which we have to address because, as was said, we cannot treat people less than human. But at the same time, every country must have rules, laws, and regulations, as I said to them. Not even in their own country can it be done like that. You're asking a married person who is your husband's, what is your husband's name? And they respond, well, I can't remember the first name, and, they're married. Let's head back to the phone line and we'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Host, Mr. Devon. Greetings in Jesus' name, the only Savior sinners from hell and from their sins, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, is it possible I could just say something for the Christmas season?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yes. Well, what I would like to tell people is that, first of all, thank God, and I praise God and I give him all my gratitude that that he spared us from hurricanes, and he spared us from the storms, which was most well needed, and I thank Jesus Christ for it all. And secondly, let us all remember that this is the Christmas season, which is supposed to be the message of the season, the spirit of the season, that Jesus Christ was born to save sinners from sins and from hell, and those who he chose from all eternity, those who the Father chose from all eternity to be saved in his kingdom. And he came to seek them out and to save them by his precious blood. And this is the message of the Christmas season. And when we repent of all of our sins and disobedience to his word and put our faith in his death, burial, and resurrection, he will save us by his blood from our sins and from hell, to be with him for all eternity in his kingdom. And this is most important. And this is the starting of all of the answers and solutions to all of our problems. His word and believing in his name and his gospel message and obeying his word as a whole in every area of life. So this is the Christmas season message, the real spirit of Christmas. And without Christmas, there will be no Easter. So thank God, because of Christmas, there is an Easter to look forward to. God bless you. God bless all the listeners. And in Jesus Christ's name, I proclaim his message according to his word. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 762-0989. You're tuned into Voices for Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. Thank you so much for your contribution. The topic of the St. Kitts Nevis government uncovering ring of illegal marriages. So as I was saying, the Prime Minister said he met with some of the members from the Spanish speaking community. Let me hold that comment, and let me take this call. The caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, a pleasant good afternoon. You can hear me?
Hello, caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
You can hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, good afternoon. I just called to say, I hope we don't end up like Donald Trump. Because when Donald Trump was running with Miss Clinton, all was on his campaign trail is lock her up. And here's come now, is he ready to get the lockup? So I hope we don't end up like Donald Trump. Have a blessed afternoon.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open, and we are awaiting your calls here on Voices on WINFM 98.9 for Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. Call us and be a part of the conversation for today. The topic at hand, the St. Kitts Nevis government uncovers ring of illegal marriages. There's a comment I want to read here that came in on the WhatsApp. It says, so it was wrong and it was done before and continuing now. So because the current PM wants it to end and is calling it out and wants things tightened up, it's a problem. That's a comment from a listener. Let's head back to the phone lines. The caller, good afternoon. You're on the air. Caller? Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back, 466-0989 or 762-0989. The phone lines are open. Yeah, that's a comment from a caller there. So, as I was saying before the break, let me hold that thought and we'll take this call. The caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hey, good afternoon again, Devon.
Hello, caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the listeners at home and abroad.
Yes.
Now, I listened this morning to your countryman, Ms. Howell, talking about the election irregularities. And I said to myself, the blame for them lay at the feet of the supervisor of election. If you really examine them, because even take the one with, it happened in St. Kitts too, where they go and split boxes, and when you go to vote at a certain place, they say you have to go somewhere else, so that is not even something new. So I maybe believe because of his inexperience, you know, and even the one with the names, the person in charge have the master list and the others don't have it. That has to be laid again at the feet of the supervisor of elections. Anyway you turn it. You know, so trying to put the blame on the other party to me don't make sense. Unless they influence the supervisor of election to do it, because you have to prove that, eh? And the habit of paying people. Both parties were doing it. In St. Kitts, it was the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it is now becoming a fixture in our election. And until we are able to educate our people, and our young people especially, who think it's some matter of transaction, and then you have the foreign, you want to call them foreign? The non-national population. We have got to find a way where we don't manipulate them or use them against each other. I call it weaponizing, eh? So one party take ownership of this nationality, another one. It is not good for national unity, because I mean some of them leave you alone. Even this so-called revelation. All it does, it is pitting nationals here against the Spanish. Now, another reason why some people feel strongly about it is the way that the Dominican Republic is treating the Haitians. We can't overlook it, you know. Haitians born there, have children, they have no rights. So, of course, it irks some of us that black people, calling black people Haitians, can't get no right to citizenship in their born-in country, and then they're walking in here. And this is why I say, when you come with a story, come with the whole story. Come with the whole story. If there's a ring can't be one person. You know? So I want, the person was asking for a statement from the supervisor of election. Maybe he should. I mean, maybe whatever he said might be taken political anyway. Because that is all the only way we could think, you know. And for the NRP to be making certain statements, man, by now they should have filed, because look at next week. Monday is a holiday because Sunday, Christmas, they fall on Sunday, so Monday automatically becomes the holiday. Then the next day, so when you only have 21 days in which to file a petition. It should be already started unless they plan to do what happened last time. Make a big hullabaloo and then put it out to the court. All you do is excite the people, stir them up, and create uneasy, because they're not going to have an easy ruling. Would you want that for your country? Would you want to destabilize your own country? All right, then.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Let's take this break to give a shout out to our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll continue Voices right here on WIN FM 98.9.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WIN FM.
Hola, everybody! Here's your Value Mart IGA Value Club Holiday Specials running December 15th to December 28th. Essential Everyday Ketchup $4.99. IGA and Essential Everyday White Vinegar $5.99. Special K cereals $15.49. Essential Everyday Shredded and Chopped Cheeses $7.99. Lay's Stack Chips $6.49. Old Orchard 100% apple juice $9.99. And now a very low weekly value deals. Nabisco Chips Ahoy $15.99. Most grain cereals $14.99. Essential Everyday Oats Quick and Old Fashioned $13.99. Nature Valley Granola Bars $10.99. IGA and Essential Everyday Cream Cheese $6.49. Almond Hammer Deodorant $7.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Everybody, Feliz Navidad!
Welcome back to Voices. Let's take this call. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Let's take this other call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Again, I'm quite concerned this, touch a little on the marriage issue. Now, I've always said, and I will say it here again, when it comes to marriage, there is nowhere in the Bible that tells you have to get married. In order for you to get married, you have to go to a judge, a pastor, a priest, a magistrate, or whatever. To be properly married, according to God in His Word, is for the man to make a covenant with his woman. That is why Malachi phrase it as the wife of your covenant. That is what makes a marriage before the eyes of God. The man making a covenant with the woman, not to go to no pastor, priest, judge, or anything like that. And when we do not recognize such as true marriages in the eyes of God, which God said is marriage in His eyes, we are sinning against God, because we are going contrary to His Word as to what makes a marriage, as to what a marriage is. So we need to get back to the Bible and do what the Bible says, because this is because of our divergence and disobedience to the Bible why we are having all of these problems, because we are making confusion upon confusion in doing things out of line and contrary to the Bible. Marriage is between the man making a covenant, a marital covenant with his wife, not going before no pastor, priest, or anything like that. So let's do things the Bible way, and that would take away all of these problems we are having. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices here on WINFM 98.9. It is 12:52. Of course, we end this program at 1:30. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. And how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, thanks. What about you?
Okay. Not bad at all. I'm going to give you a story that I would have relayed some time ago on air, not on WinFM, though. And it goes back many years, to the year 2000 to be exact. It was during an election campaign, and I had entered the main campaign office of the People's Action Movement, which was located on Princess Street, upstairs Keynes. While there was pretty busy inside there. The phone rang, and somebody asked me to answer the phone, which I did. On the phone was some official from St. Martin, from the Coast Guard, some high-up official. And he started reciting a story to me that ties in with the whole Spanish thing to show that a lot of bubbles have been going on with the Spanish for quite some time. What he told me was that the Coast Guard in St. Martin had intercepted a boat with about 50 Spanish on it. It was in this St. Martin waters. It had not left St. Martin. It had not entered the port of St. Martin, but was headed towards St. Kitts. And when they questioned the passengers aboard this boat, they all had new St. Kitts Nevis passports unstamped to indicate they had not been traveling anywhere. Along with the passports that they had voter ID cards. They were coming to St. Kitts, and the election probably was about 2 weeks away. I found that very odd, which shows that somebody had been shipping passports and voter ID cards to persons with specific names in Santo Domingo. The official, to back up what I'm saying, he asked if I could speak to the most senior person in the office there. Because obviously, the person recognized there was some problem, and I don't know why. I often question myself, why did the person contact the office of the opposition with a story like that? But I did pass on the phone to one Miss Conzi Mitchum, who spoke to the official from St. Martin for some lengthy time. So to verify my story, you might want to speak to her in her privacy one of these days, but you don't have to do it. But it does show that a lot of bubbles, especially over the election, has been going on in St. Kitts for some considerable time, and something definitely needs to be done about it, because it can only get worse, as we are now recognizing. Thank you, sir, for listening to me.
Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. It is 5 minutes before the 1 o'clock hour. It is Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. We know election after election, we often hear of the many stories of what may have taking place concerning people coming to vote and all sorts of things we hear around this time. I want to bring to you another topic of that has been on the, or let me say, a lot of people have been debating on this topic, and it has been quite popular on social media. It's with regard to the smoking of marijuana. So marijuana smoking in public is illegal. SKN's Attorney General advises marijuana users to comply with the law. That announcement by the Attorney General, for the most part, based off of the comments that I have seen, has not sit well with a number of people, or people have been given their suggestions and their feedback as to what it should be. So, members of the general public have been engaged in extensive debate on the matter of marijuana smoking, following an announcement by the Attorney General Garth Wilkin in the National Assembly on day 4 of the budget debate. Wilkin informed the general public that smoking marijuana in public places is illegal in the Federation, sharing that his office and the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force have received numerous reports of excessive public marijuana smoking throughout the Federation, which has been affecting persons' health, particularly those suffering from respiratory disease, asthma. Some members of the general public have weighed in on the issue. Some lamented that all types of smoke is dangerous, not only marijuana smoking, and suggested that the law be reviewed and include designated spots where marijuana smoking can take place. As outlined in the Drugs Prevention and Abatement of the Misuse and Abuse of Drugs Amendment Act, enacted in July 2019, a person found smoking cannabis or cannabis resin in any public place, not including a registered place of worship of the Rastafarian faith, or any place authorized by this act, and any regulations made under this act, shall be issued with a fixed penalty notice for $1,000, or in default of payment, shall be liable to up to 20 hours of community service, or in default to a term of 5 days imprisonment. The Act also states public place includes an indoor or outdoor area, whether privately or publicly owned, to which the public has access by right or by invitation, expressed or implied, whether by payment of money or not, including all commercial, agricultural, and industrial zoned lands and properties, bars, drinking places, restaurants and clubs, tourist establishments, hotels, guest houses, schools, and all other educational institutions, hospitals, whether publicly or privately owned, churches, or other religious establishments, except as is permitted under the Act or any other law. Correctional facilities, whether publicly or privately operated, public transportation, community centers, roads, highways, government offices, and the list goes on. And people have been weighing in on this, suggesting that let it not just be marijuana smoke, but all types of smoke. All types of smoke. I mean, my personal view, I have nothing against people who smoke marijuana or also smoke cigarette. That is your choice, and I respect your choice. What I don't like is when You know, at times I'm sitting there at the ferry terminal waiting for the boat to go or to come, and people are there with their cigarette, and they would light the cigarette right in front of you and many others. And there are times where people are there with their children, their toddlers, their babies, and people are there smoking the cigarettes. I mean, let's say that it doesn't matter how much legislation or how much law you put in place, that may not be able to slow down or stop this completely. But I think it's going to boil down to people, you know, being a bit understanding. If you want to smoke, whether it be marijuana or cigarette or whatever, just go in your private space, your own space, and smoke. But for the life of me, I can't understand why you would want to be in a crowd. You don't know who in that crowd has any respiratory illness or asthma, and you're going to go and light your cigarette or your marijuana joint. I don't care what kind of smoke it is. But in the back of your mind should be, boy, maybe somebody here has asthma, so let me move aside. This was a big issue in Music Festival this year, where they begged and they pleaded to the smokers, man, you go on the outside if you want to smoke. But there are people who would stand in a crowd and they would light that smoke right in front of you. Sometimes I see people with their babies, pregnant women. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. So it boils down to people just, being a bit understanding and having a heart. Having a heart, man. Why would you want to light your spliff in a crowd? Let's take this call on the line. Okay, we seem to have lost this call. Let's head back to the phone lines and we will take this caller. All right. Please call us back at... I lost that caller. Please call us back at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let's take this call. The caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Greetings. Miss One Ketchiago. So I wrote that feedback. They were far from the radio.
Yes.
You didn't want to miss a word and the reasoning that you have in at this point in time. Okay. That word song by the President AG, it is welcoming and it is not welcoming. There's two ways about it. We won't go into it now. What we would humbly ask you to do, because enough people not listening yet, including me. Can you find it somewhere and play it on the program before the program finish? I promise to do so soon.
Yes, I will see if I could find it to play for you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having it as part of your evening, yeah?
All right.
Blessed love.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. It is 104. We end this program at 1:30. Thank you so much for your contribution. So, I mean, that is it right there. Why? I just don't understand it. I mean, I respect people. I respect your choice if you want to smoke it. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But just don't smoke around me, Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon again, Devon. That is a sore point, because our church is in an area where sometimes people, young men, come and hang on by the door, and you can't even get to sing, but the smoke choking you. Mm-hmm. Now, what I think is there's some kind of inequity in the law. The penalty is community service of 5 days in prison or $1,000. Now, how do you equate 5 days to 1,000? Unless you plan to fit up in your prison. And our young people, mind the law didn't say you can't smoke, it says smoke in private. Because sometimes we pass over that and we say, oh, nobody could tell me what to do. They go to funerals and they want to smoke in the church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No respect,
None whatsoever. And I see that.
And they go up the cemetery and then they gather around and they burn this. And the thing carries a strong scent, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody is justifying cigarette smoke, but the ganja carries a very strong scent. And so some of the arguments, what they should do, the leaders in the movement, talk to your people. Because $1,000 is not, especially in these guava crop days. So if you're looking at the $1,000 to make your protest, start to look at thinking about other people. As the minister was saying, people there with asthma. Maybe they don't know what it is. A number of people have died in this country from asthma,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even they're going to ban. Some of it is just to show off, Some of it is just to show off, but I hope they were listening this morning to Island Tea when the president of the Football Association was talking about the non-smoking. If you want to be considered or chosen, because the international thing I said, if you are tested positive for ganja, you will be left out. So while you're developing a habit, think about the effect it may have on your future. When you apply for your visa, they ask about the same ganja, you know that, right?
I wasn't aware.
Yeah. So Carnival is coming now. You have heard enough. You don't have the $1,000, and obviously you don't want to go to jail for 5 days to miss the Carnival. Please smoke at home. Smoke where you live. Smoke in some corner. But for heaven's sake, it is lack of respect, lack of consideration for you to go in areas and the place crowded. Have a heart. All right then.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. But that is it right there. That's all we're saying. Nobody is telling you that you can't smoke. And as I said, I have nothing against people who want to smoke, whether you're smoking a cigarette or you're smoking weed or whatever. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But just don't smoke in front of me. As simple as that. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. This thing with the smoking.
Wait, caller, sorry. Before you continue, you have to turn off the radio.
Yeah, trying to do that.
And speak up a little bit. I'm not hearing you clearly.
Yeah, you go here now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I was saying this thing with the smoking, it's nothing new. It's really wrong, and wrong is true. But no, they're just coming and making everything politics. It's long time up. So everything they want to make politics, people don't vote to them.
I disagree with you, caller.
Cheating self to you.
I disagree. I don't think... I don't see the politics in this at all. I hear your view and your contribution, but I don't see the politics in this at all. Yes, we know it is not something new. It's been going on for a long time, but what we're seeing happening now is that the AG is doing his job. These are laws that have been there for a very long time. They've been there for a very long time. I stand to be corrected, but I think this one was revised in 2019. The AG became the AG in August. So these are things that have been there. It's just that he's going back and he's doing his job. So I don't see the politics in it. And let's not try to bring the politics in it. There's a time and a place for everything. Let's head back to the phone lines. Seem to have lost that caller. Let's take this one. Okay, we lost that call. It is 10 minutes past the hour, and you're listening to Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. But yeah, the issue of the smoking, people are gonna light the spliff right in the crowd, man. Just have some understanding. That's all. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Good afternoon. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. You had lunch?
Not as yet.
Oh, wow, you know.
I'm good,
Boy,
man.
gas and everything gone up, you know.
I don't want it to go up here.
Okay. All right, now a little input on this marijuana business. Nobody say that me cannot smoke or you cannot smoke me marijuana. But I must respect other people's rights. Even though we're in the public, respect the privacy by not going close to them and letting you smoke in the face. But some people were waiting for certain things to be said, and they gone wild. I remember hearing a soundbite where the Attorney General say that no police supposed to lock up nobody when they see them smoking the marijuana, because they allow a certain amount of marijuana to smoke, and they're gonna expunge your thing record, marijuana record. Well, the expunging is good, but not because they say you must smoke it because they decriminalize what they had over it. Some people willful and disrespectful with that. They will willfully walk in front of the police, them go in front of the police station and stand up and leg a load of smoke. And it is wrong and bad. And again, if people do not have no respect for the church service, that they go in and they want to smoke in there, they ain't gonna respect on the road with that. So with this carnival coming up, this Christmas festivity and carnival with it, and they're asking everybody now to participate in this and participate in that, there's the problem going to be out upon the road. Because Tom, Dick and Harry, they're going to say, man, me in the public, because smoke this is Christmas. And somebody else now ain't going to like it. That person may have asthma, whatever it is, but whether you have it yes or not, nobody have no right to blow no smoke in people's face. Move away if you smoke going in people's face. And it's going to cause a lot of problem on the road. I don't see it. I already seen it because a lot of them feel like, oh, well, me ain't got to obey them day. This is my privilege, and I could smoke anyway. So I am warning them, please, be courteous to people as you want them do to you. Do not do things to people while you don't like. Control your smoke. If you can't control it to plenty people, they blow it in your pocket and shut your pocket. Have a good day, Mr. Cornelius.
All right, you too, caller, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices here on WINFM 98.9. Let's take a short break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the program right here.
Found the sound 98.9 WINFM.
Triple that cash back. From now until December 31st, Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store is going to triple that cash back. You heard right. Hosford's is going to triple that never-ending cash back now with 3 big ways to save. 1. Get low monthly and weekly payments and no payment until February 2023. 2. Get a chance to win absolutely free groceries for 1 year. 3. Triple that never-ending cashback at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store for even more groceries. Triple that cashback today at Hosford. Triple the savings. Triple the free groceries. Triple the extraordinary. Triple that never-ending cashback today. See store for details.
Welcome back to Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls. Let's take this call. Okay, lost that call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, Devon. I forget to say this while I was on the air. I want the water department to know that Upper St. Johnson and Lagweed, they have a problem up there with water. They don't have no water since yesterday. And there is a reservoir, the biggest reservoir in St. Kitts is up Lagweed. So I don't know the reason why they don't have water up there. People walking up and down the place with bottle and bucket going by other people's place where they know they could get water. They could ask their friend for some water. So I'm calling on water department, the Ministry of Water Department. Go and get the problem solved. Because people cannot do without water. Water is very essential. Especially women. Women need water 24 hours a day. And it's hard to see people up there, women and child and everybody can't get no water to use. And this going on since yesterday. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, Devon.
And thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. It is 19 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour. It is Wednesday, December 21st, and you're listening to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let me say thank you so much for your input and contribution. The calls, those of you who text, those of you who are following on social media. Sorry, thank you for your contribution to this program. For those of you who are just tuning in, we're weighing in on the topic of marijuana smoking in public. Let's take this caller. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Line field down here ain't have any water neither, so we don't have no water neither. So it's the water come down to look water, so we don't have any line field.
Lime kiln?
Yeah.
All right, caller, thank you so much for that. Well, I would hope that the relevant authorities listening with regards to water shortage or water outage or the water issues that people are experiencing around the island. I know as it is right now, there is a water crisis here in St. Kitts. I saw a statement from the Honorable Congress Maynard with regards to that. If I okay, I have it right in front of me. Let's take this caller. The caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Devon. Just let me say something before I make my point. I think after 5 or 6 rings, the phone's cut off. That's why a lot of times I guess you're not getting any answer. But I was calling to find out if the act about smoking marijuana has anything to say about people smoking in rented apartments that doesn't belong to them. What does the law say about that? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. Very good question. I would not be able to provide an answer at this point in time, but I will definitely do my homework to find out about that. As I was having a conversation with someone the other day about that, in terms of people, renting, whether you're renting an apartment or you're renting a house and you don't know if the person is a smoker or not, and then, when that person moves out, you find all the evidence of them smoking and your furniture has this stench with the smoke. But that's a very good question. I am not certain if the legislation or the act, whatever, if it speaks to it, but I will find out for you and provide that information as soon as I can. But thank you. That's a very good question. But yes, for those of you who are just tuning in, we are on the topic of smoking in public. As I said, the news did not sit well with a lot of people because they were asking, well, hey, what about the cigarette smoke? For me, it's all types of smoke, right? And as I said, I have no issue against people who want to smoke. That is their right. That is their choice. If you want to smoke, you can go and smoke. But, consider people who suffer from respiratory illnesses and diseases, Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ben. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. And you?
I'm great.
Awesome.
I want to weigh in on the whole ganja smoking thing in public.
Sure, go ahead.
And I would like to say, as somebody who makes use of the herb, I don't see the issue in the law itself. Where I have an issue is that even though we are trying to move towards the decriminalization of cannabis, there's still a vast majority of the populace who are still brainwashed by the stigma, the racism that came with the prohibition of cannabis. Now, you may say that cannabis carries a heavy odor, but look at some of the chemicals that sells on the shelf that carries a heavy odor. Clorox, Discipline, the stench that you see in Bastille. I mean, even the smoke for the people who live in Connery, that's toxic. So I think where some people are having a little issue with it is the hypocrisy in it all. You understand? And you can see where some people are moving towards lifting the prohibition, but they're still skeptical because they still have their fallacies when it comes to that.
Right.
Now, just like anything else, there are going to be some people who make use of certain things and they abuse it. For instance, there's a difference between smoking just the cannabis alone and mixing it with other things. And there's where some of the problem lies, because some of them don't mix the cannabis with what you call brown. You ever smell brown by yourself?
Yes.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Even when they're burning it to chip up to try it in the joint, the burning on it is horrible. And as a smoker myself, I hate that scent. But I can't tell people what to do. I would just simply ask them, please don't use that in my presence. Go in your own little corner. If I happen to be around a bunch of people and I feel like I want to light my joint, the people who are around me ask them, if I light my joint, is it okay? Do you have any allergies? Some would say no. Some would say, I can't take on that day right now. So, no problem. I would get up and I would go off. But here's where people need to learn some courtesy. And I find that people in St. Kitts and Nevis don't know what that the name. Courtesy killing them. No. Sometimes I say, you know what? I'm gonna join. And the same effect that I get outside as opposed to inside is not the same. Because when you partake of cannabis, my lad, it puts you in a kind of zone to relax and to meditate. You can't relax and meditate in a dance when all kind of things going on around you and you have to be your wits about you. And on top of that, you add in alcohol with it. And we all know what alcohol does. So the people who are out there making noise are the disrespectful people. The people who don't have no regard for other people. I mean, why would you want to go to a crowd with your stinking brown? And sometimes the weed that I smoke ain't of good quality again, so it smells horrible. Why would you want to do that to somebody else? Would you like for somebody else to come and do something that you don't like in your presence and disrespect your personal space?
Right.
And I think people need to be a little bit more considerate and put down the ignorance. You understand? They use it for recreational purposes. They're not partaking of it for what it was really intended to do. And any Rastaman who chime on with this, something wrong with them as well. Because can you get a decent meditation if you have to be walking through town and Bastille, people hail you, and you got to watch for traffic and you got to watch your back and all this kind of foolishness? You can't get a decent meditation, sir. You got to remain focused. So, going forward, I would just hope that this new administration, and I don't see it happening, but I'm just hoping, would try to educate the population just a little bit more about the use of marijuana. Now, a lady asked a question about the use of marijuana in rented apartments. It's simple business. If you're renting an apartment to somebody and you say no smoking whatsoever, you're supposed to abide by your rules. If they can't abide by your rules, then you put them out. Mm-hmm. You could kindly ask them to leave your place. You don't have to legislate that. That's something that you could put in your contract. Whether you allow pets, you don't allow pets, whether you allow smoking, no kind of smoking, whether cigarette or ganja or whatever. Or if you do want to partake of it, please make sure the place is properly ventilated. You could put certain things in place, and everything need a piece of legislation. It's just a thought processes and putting certain protocols in place. Just like any business place, you walk into a restaurant and they say no smoking, or they say this is the smoking section. You go into a pub or whatever, no smoking. It's all a matter for people and what they want into your personal place. You don't have to legislate that. Mm-hmm. But that's my 2 cents.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. That's it right there. You know, it's not a case where the AG or the government is saying you can't smoke. It's simple, man. Have some consideration. Have some consideration. You know, consider people who have respiratory illnesses, people who have asthma and all of that. Not everybody would be able to take the marijuana smoke. Not everybody would be able to take the cigarette smoke. But I see people, you know, at an event, at a dance, in a thick crowd, and they're not going to say, boy, I wonder if anybody around here have asthma, or if anybody around here could take the smoke that will come from my joint. They just like this spliff, and then that's it. You know, so, you know, it's just, you know, having some consideration and thinking about other people. Nobody's trying to tell you can't smoke your weed, you can't smoke your cigarette, but, you know, not in public spaces. As I say, I see people would light the spliff, light the cigarette in front of pregnant women, in front of babies and toddlers, children. And they don't care. And then if you try to say something, man ready for bang you up, tell you, go about your business. But you are in a public space. You are in a public space. And that's it right there. It is 1:30 here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9, and you have been listening to Voices for Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. I've been your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program, to all the callers, those of you who sent your WhatsApp messages, those of you who've been following via social media. Thank you so much for your contribution. Until next time, you guys stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the Christmas season and, of course, enjoy Carnival.
Buildings damaged by an earthquake are dangerous. This is not